Citizens of the world, hello, my name is Angela and welcome back to Les Amis de l'ABC. Now, before we get properly going, a few people have been asking why Kofrak hasn't been posting anything recently. Well, I come bearing answers. Kofrak is currently interning with an organisation that fights corruption. Can't really say anything about it because it's quite secret and I can't tell you where they are. But I can say that they don't really have internet access at the moment, but they can occasionally write letters, and we will be reading some of these letters to you, our lovely viewers. But they're having an amazing time and they're doing very important work, which actually leads me on quite nicely to what I wanted to talk about today. I guess you could call it a pet peeve, except pet peeves are those little annoying things, like when people put milk in before the tea is done brewing. So let's not call it a pet peeve. Let's call it the if you could change one thing in the world starting today, what would it be game. I mentioned this in a previous video, legal aid, the state funding system for those who can't afford lawyers but still have legal problems. Now, the UK's current government has been slashing services left, right and centre, and this is only one of the ones to have been hit. Benefits, public health, universities, they've all come under attack and they're incredibly important. But legal aid has a special place in my heart, and this is why. 1. Law gets really complex and intimidating really fast, which doesn't exactly create the kind of environment where people can vindicate their rights. I mean, how can you sue someone if you don't even know where to look for what the law says? Now, of course, laws should be written in a way that makes them accessible. But the fact is, lawyers have expertise and experience that non-lawyers just don't have. And that's not inherently a bad thing, provided people still have access to lawyers. Cutting legal aid budgets threatens access to lawyers, and by extension, threatens access to justice. 2. The number of lawyers who are allowed to provide legally aided services has been cut. In criminal cases, it's going from something like 1,600 or so firms to 500. Now, it's not like people are suddenly going to be committing less crime, so what you're doing is spreading far fewer lawyers over the same number of people. It's a similar story in civil, i.e. non-criminal cases. With the best will in the world, one firm can't realistically do what 3 firms used to do. Services will suffer, and the people who need that advice will suffer too. So you have all the might of the state prosecuting people without means to defend themselves. 3. As I mentioned in my last video on this subject, this may mean that only fairly wealthy people are able to do pro bono work. This will only increase the sense of alienation already felt by most of the legal system's most vulnerable users. What can be done, I hear you ask? Well, we could repeal the relevant sections of the Legal Aid Sentencing and Punishment of Offenders Act 2012, known as LASPO, and make up the difference by taxing corporations and rich people properly. However, that seems unlikely. Cuts don't tend to get repealed, certainly not when a Conservative government is in power. Did you know recently the Justice Minister, and I'm not making this up, suggested that the UK should be able to opt out of European human rights judgments? That gives you an idea just what they think of access to justice. Another option would be to challenge the cuts in courts, which is what has happened. There was a judgment not long ago which held that the consultation process leading up to LASPO was enough of a shambles as to be illegally unfair. Okay, I'm paraphrasing a bit. The downside is that the cuts themselves were not found to be illegal. The reforms will be continuing as planned, but this could go to appeal. A lot of really senior judges could get involved, and they tend to dislike people who mess with access to the courts. Now, this isn't over yet, but I'm feeling hopeful. I feel like there's a real chance that justice will prevail and civil liberties won't be sacrificed on the altar of hypocritical budget cuts. Now, at the moment, this is largely in the hands of the lawyers and the courts, but public pressure does count. So, if you live in the UK, please consider writing to your MP about it. If you live elsewhere, maybe investigate what finances are available for those in need in your place of residence. Make your voices count. If we change one thing today, I vote for this one. As ever, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment and subscribe for more content from Les Amis. And I will see you all next time. Quick thing before I go. This is what I say we change today. Tomorrow we pick and win another battle. Well, metaphorically tomorrow. My point is, it doesn't stop here.